Greetings! I am SmashKAB. This is a comprehensive guide to my priest deck in light of CAB. I will start by indexing the contents of this video. First, there will be a run through of every card and how it works. I'll touch on my impressions of the deck, its strengths and weaknesses, followed by stats I've gathered by playing nothing but this deck for 2 weeks straight. Finally, I'll account for the total cost and dust you'll need to acquire all the cards. This deck got me to Masters. I'm not saying it's the best priest deck in the world, but it worked for me and it was fun to play. This should also serve as a great opportunity for the people not in the beta to learn some of the basic priest mechanics. Okay, here's the deck. Start with 2 Northshire Clerics. Early game, she can take advantage of the low damage output units. Her power reads, whenever a minion is healed, draw a card. Attack the creature, heal her up, draw a card. Late game, you can use her in big combos to gain large amounts of card draw. Here's an example. 2 friendly creatures have been damaged, with 2 clerics on the board. A Holy Nova clears the board and heals your creatures, effectively gaining you 4 cards. The Lightwarden can be a great source of damage early game, provided you can keep her alive. Putting her up on turn 1 or before your opponent plays a creature is ideal. Otherwise, you want to make sure she's covered by a bigger creature. Whenever a creature or player is healed, she gains 2 damage. If she survives, generally she packs a punch. Grab a single Power Words shield. This flavor card can be used at all points in the game to make a creature just a little bit harder to kill, while maintaining your card count. Divine Spirit is a card that doubles a minion's health. Innerfire is a card that changes the attack of a minion to be equal to its health. You can see why I've chosen to talk about these 2 cards together. Having 2 each in your deck, they are the core source of damage potential. They'll come up frequently as we go through the list of creatures. Your Lightwells are a big part of your early game play. On top of being a massive damage sink in the opening turns with a +3 heal, you can also combo it with Innerfire to gain yourself a 5/5 and some great early game damage potential. Let me emphasize right away how important it is to wait until you have the attack initiative before you use your spells. If you Divine Spirit Innerfire and you cannot attack, chances are your opponent will hex you, polymorph, silence, anything. There are many a counter to this plan. Hence why you always wait until you can attack before casting your spells. Your Mogu Shan Wardens can be used to delay while you set your combo up. They are also one of the creatures you can buff up with Divine Spirit Innerfire. The Lightspawns in this deck are great creatures to throw out when you need to gain a foothold on the board. They can be comboed with Divine Spirit easily, as their creature power gives them Innerfire naturally. The 2 injured Blademasters in this deck ensure that you have good early mid-game board presence, and can be comboed easily with both the Cleric and the Lightwarden. A single Gnomish Inventor that can be played anytime to maintain board control and card count. The Gadgetzan Auctioneer is almost exclusively used in a late game context. Chances are you'll be holding on to a lot of spells, and he serves well as a backup plan. For every spell you play while he's on the board, you draw a card. Chaining him with those spells can get you mass card draw, and open you up some options you wouldn't have had otherwise. The last creature in this deck is Ysera. Mind you, I don't think he is required to make this deck effective. You don't have to have him. You can sub him with another big late game creature or legendary. But like in most cases, Ysera is an amazing late end game card, extending your card pool and occasionally becoming an unnecessarily large way to end the game. Next, we'll talk about Thoughtsteal. This is a card you want to play when the board is clear or you have established board control. It reads, copy 2 random cards from your opponent's deck. It's a bit RNG, but let's be honest, there's a fairly heavy element of luck in Hearthstone. Sometimes you'll steal some useful creatures, a solid removal, or your opponent's legendary. And sometimes you'll end up with 4 Gurubashi destroyers and a broken heart. Thoughtsteal has some endgame impact too, as it effectively extends your card pool by 1 each, giving you a 32 card deck instead of a 30 card deck. There are 3 forms of removal in this deck. The first is Shadowform, turning your hero power into a 2 damage nuke at the first level, and a 3 damage nuke at the second. Shadow Words Pain and Death are used to kill creatures 3 attack and below, or 5 attack and above respectively. That means your biggest weakness is 4. The last 3 cards to round out this deck are all situational cards, added in to be effective at dealing with 1 situation each game. Holy Nova is your only form of AoE damage in this deck. It can be used to clear large amounts of small creatures or in a big tactical combo. Mass Dispel is similar, but instead of being damage, it's silence. Use it to bypass defensive for lethal damage or to neutralize multiple targets. Mind Control is the ultimate trump card. Ask yourself, is there any way I can deal with that big ass creature? If the answer is no, Mind Control. Bonus points if you kill your opponent with their own creature. So that's it for the deck. Let me remind you that there's a complete card list in the description of this video, and I have to say, this deck has served me well. Of course there is an element of luck, and you can end up with really bad hands, but such is with any deck. For the most part, you'll have great early, mid, late, and endgame options. The biggest weakness I feel is the lack of AoE, and when things start to go bad and you lose board control in the early game, it's pretty much over. Once you get to the upper leagues, you'll find that most people also have well-flushed decks, with good removal or silence. You have to be very careful not to put all your cards into one move, unless you know you can end the game. And let me stress again the importance of holding off your combo spells until you have the attack initiative. There are only a few occasions when you want to buff a creature that can't attack this turn. I've been playing nothing but this deck for almost 2 weeks in prep of this video. Along the way, I've gathered stats, 145 wins to 77 losses. But since my handwriting is barely legible, I'll represent the stats here. As you can see, the deck works particularly well against other priests, as well as hunters, mage, warrior, and warlock, while functioning fairly badly against druid and shaman. Rogue requires more data, and paladin has a marginal success rate. I should also mention that I've only been playing this game for about 3 weeks, so I still have a lot to learn, and this is by no means the best priest deck ever. Last but not least, this deck consists of 12 basic, 8 common, 7 rares, 2 epics, and 1 legendary. Like I said before, Ysera can be replaced by another big creature or legendary of your choosing. Without Ysera, this deck will cost you 1,820 dust. Ysera being 1,600 on its own might not be worth it. Now, it seems logical that sometime in the near future, Blizzard will add a way for you to purchase cards straight up, or pre-built decks. Hell, maybe you'll even be able to buy in SmashKAB, or something similar, straight from the store, for a reasonable price. Please and thank you. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please like and favorite, as it does help a lot. If you're interested in more, leave a comment with what deck you'd like to see next. I wish you all swift beta keys.